So today we're just going to talk, aren't we, about how lockdown and this coronavirus has affected you. We're going to make quite a few videos, and this is the first one. So the first question I want to ask you is, when did this coronavirus first have an impact on you? When did you first realise there was something going on?
Well, I heard about it online at one point, but I didn't really take it that seriously. I just thought, well, you know, we hear about viruses, sort of like we heard about bird flu several years ago, and
yeah, and you weren't worried at all.
Yeah, I just thought, you know, it was just one of those things that was.
So okay, so when did you actually think, oh no, this is actually affecting me? When did that first happen?
It was when basically I was told that I wasn't allowed to go out, essentially, or I wasn't allowed to actually no, it was when the college, I was told that my college might start to close down for a week or so. Because of the virus, and I thought, well, surely it can't be that. It's very unlikely you'd get it, surely. But then I was told by my mother Sylvia, actually, that it was much more. It was actually how serious it was. It was the first pandemic we'd had in a very long time, and it wasn't like an unlikelihood. Like there may not have been anyone in our local town that had it yet, but it was spreading. It was spreading like the plague, and it was going all over the place. And it wasn't that unlikely that, you know, it could end up that we could end up catching it. Yeah. So
the first practical thing, do you think, when it changed your life, was when you had to come out of college then? That started when I think my mum basically suggested that I should come out for a week, and I wasn't happy about this at all. You know, I had deadlines coming up, and I felt like I wanted to stay in college. In fact, the idea of not going really stressed me out. But the college tutors also said the same thing. They thought it was a good idea that I would take a week off and work from home, even though I wasn't a fan of that at all, because college had all the facilities. But it was only, I did still do the week, still work for that week, but I was really worried that I would not be able to meet the deadline. I was really worried that I'd end up having to do the final project at home as well. But eventually, like, it was after this week though, the college actually said, "Oh, we're wrapping the course up. So we're just going to finish it here, and we'll mark your grades based on what you've already done," which I was actually quite relieved about, that I didn't have to worry about, because the film that I had in mind to make, it was quite important to do at college, so I was quite relieved that I wouldn't end up I could put it on hold for a later date. Yeah, because I mean, you have, you know, college had the facilities, you had you had a teaching assistant to help you, didn't you? He was really good. He would, and so to suddenly think they're going to expect me to do the same amount of work at home without that support must have been. But did you also feel quite like, almost like someone had taken your future away, because you had this plan, you put a lot of work into that final project. It was going to be about the myths of autism, and you'd actually done surveys, and you'd put a lot of work into it. How did you feel about not being able to complete it? I mean, I know you were maybe relieved because you didn't have to complete it on your own, but how did you feel about just suddenly it's finished, it's over?
Well, I actually didn't feel too bad about it, because the work that I had previously done, they were still going to mark me on it, so I would still I would still get, you know, it would still pay off, and I was still hoping that I would be able to do the film, but in the future, you know, like once the virus settled down, might be able to go out and do work on what I was hoping for. And as well as this, all the research I did, I have now decided to use for articles. Like, you know, I haven't let all that writing go to waste. I basically decided to turn it into blog posts that I've done every week.
Yeah, so actually what stresses you is to do a lot of work and then find it means nothing. But because you've found a way of reusing that work, it's helped you with the stress.
Yes.
Yeah. And how about, you know, you were going to college every single day. You had a routine. How do you feel? And then you were doing speeches as well. How do you feel about the fact that suddenly all that was taken off you?
I'd say it can be quite stressful. I'd say. I mean, I've quite appreciated the fact that I've had a break from it, but I've also heard that it could take a very long time to get back, like maybe even over a year, and that's like where it's just kind of stressful because you know, I don't know when I'm going to be able to continue, and also as well as this, it yeah, just the whole uncertainty of it, I think, is quite stressful.
Yeah, it must be, because I mean, also you run a business and, you know, you have qualified for this self-employment grant, but it's only for 3 months, and yet your job, the way you earn a living is as a public speaker. And because you're on the, you know, the severe asthma bracket and you've been told to stay in for 12 weeks and you're one of those that has to shield, it might well be a long time before you can actually go out and give speeches face to face. How do you feel about that, the thought of not really being able to run your business? How does that feel?
I'd say I would say it can definitely cause a lot of stress, but I'm still I'm finding ways to cope with it. By continuing to write these articles and still doing some films, I think does still help me to feel like I'm continuing it to a degree.
Yeah.
But it would still be good if I could still continue to do speeches.
Yeah. So actually, I think we're thinking of offering training and speeches maybe via Skype or, you know, different methods, aren't we? And also putting a lot more effort into your filmmaking and growing that side of the business in the next coming months as well, aren't you? So that you can continue to be self-employed, because it's really important. I mean, you know, what does having a job mean to you? I mean, when you were younger, how did you feel about, you know, work?
I was really afraid that I would never get a job. I'd seen some adults on the autistic spectrum who weren't doing who didn't have any jobs at all, and maybe some of them went to college, you know, and they just kept on doing one college course after another. But that wasn't what I wanted to do. Like, okay, I didn't mind doing college if you're going to get something out of it and it's going to help you with your career. That's great, but it doesn't seem like you're doing that much with your life if you're just going to do college the whole time. I actually wanted to actually accomplish something further, and that did cause me some anxiety. Yeah.
But the way that you're coping with it is not looking at those big things. Like you're saying, you're dealing with a routine now. You're working your business. You're writing articles. You're going to make films. And you're just going to focus on those tasks rather than on, oh, will I be able to keep my business going? Because that's too stressful for you, would you say? So I think we'll wrap up now. We'll finish this. But one more question. So there must be lots and lots of parents at home whose children have had school taken off them and all their usual routines, who are also autistic. And they must be feeling similar to you. When am I going to get back to school? When are things going back to normal? When can I go to the trampolining club or whatever they like to do?
Or back to work.
Or back, you know, but if they're children, I mean, so what would your advice be based on your own experience, how you've coped with it, to those parents? Can you think, you know, if you try and apply that to children, so you've continued to do things, you've taken some of the plans that you've made and you've changed them so you can do them at home, haven't you?
Yeah. So how to apply it to children? Well, I think probably to find another method of where they can continue to do the things which they had previously done. Like, like, for example, for those who go to Sunday school in our church have it online. If they could find a way to still receive the same thing, but receive it another way, that would probably be useful.
Yeah, like I think I heard of one home actually for adults with autistic adults, and they actually set up their own kind of McDonald's drive-through, and they made the burgers and the fries, and you know they had a kiosk, and they drove the cars up to this kiosk, and people were able to get themselves a McDonald's. It wasn't a real McDonald's, but for some of those adults, going out regularly every week to McDonald's was an important part of their routine. So they found a way of doing it within the home. And we used to do, like, I remember we had banquets, didn't we, when you were a child, and we did a McDonald's banquet at home, didn't we?
Yes, we did, yeah.
And do you remember when we would plan for those banquets? I think they happened at the end of every half term, was it? And you'd start planning for them weeks before, and it was all the planning and preparation that would help to help you to de-stress, and it took your mind off a lot of the other worries, didn't it? So planning for these things can also be really helpful, and a visual reminder, and you can see when it's going to happen, so you make a timetable, and routine is helpful, isn't it?
Yeah, we actually used to make our own McFlurries as well.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, like even making your own McFlurry is really fun, isn't it? And one thing that's been taken off you because you're not allowed to go out is taking this dog for a walk, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you were in a routine. You take him up the road quite a few times a day, wouldn't you? Now, what did you do? You have replaced that. What do you do with the dog now?
I take him out to the garden, and believe it or not, I actually have enjoyed that experience more. At first, I was like, oh, I don't. But he just doesn't seem to do it as much out here. But I actually have ended up enjoying doing it more because I feel like there's more freedom in my garden. I don't have to when I'm taking him up the road, I often have to be more, because there's people around, there isn't freedom to stim.
Yeah.
And whereas and I also need to I can't let the dog off the lead either, because you know, there's just too much. Like, he could go up to people, or you know, go close to the road and stuff. But in my garden, there's much more freedom. Yeah. I've actually used the trampoline while I've just let him do what he wants.
Yeah, but the trampoline's broken, so maybe tomorrow we'll show you the trampoline and the space and what we want to do with it. That would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But so you know, that's an example of. I mean, you know, I take Dissy for his long walk now, and he does have plenty of walks. But that was a way of replacing one routine with something else, wasn't it? So I think that's good advice, really, isn't it? Yeah. So shall we thank you for answering my questions, Alex, and I look forward to asking you some more in the future.
Bye.